Russia is the largest country on Earth by a massive margin, stretching across 11 time zones and covering more land than entire continents. But despite all of that space, most of it is almost completely empty, with the vast majority of the population concentrated in a relatively small area in the West, which raises a simple question: why does a country with so much land have so few people living across most of it? The first reason is climate, because a huge portion of Russia, especially in Siberia, experiences some of the harshest conditions on the planet, with extremely long winters, freezing temperatures that can drop far below zero, and permafrost that keeps the ground permanently frozen, making it difficult to build infrastructure, grow food, or sustain large populations. But cold weather alone doesn't fully explain it, because there are other cold regions in the world that are still inhabited. So the next factor is distance, because Siberia isn't just cold, it's enormous, and many parts of it are incredibly far from major cities, supply routes, and economic centers, meaning that simply getting resources, materials, or even basic goods to these areas becomes expensive and complicated. And this leads to another problem, because without strong economic opportunities, there's little incentive for people to move there in the first place, since jobs, industries, and services tend to cluster where populations already exist, reinforcing the imbalance over time. Historically, some parts of Siberia were developed through forced settlement and resource extraction during the Soviet era. But even then, maintaining large populations in such extreme and remote conditions proved difficult. And after the Soviet Union collapsed, many of those regions saw population declines as people moved back toward more livable areas. And even though Siberia is rich in natural resources like oil, gas, and minerals, extracting those resources doesn't require massive populations spread evenly across the land. Instead, it relies on specific sites, infrastructure, and smaller, concentrated workforces. So when you combine extreme climate, vast distances, limited economic incentives, and historical population shifts, you get a country where most of the land exists without the conditions needed to support large-scale settlement. And that's why, despite its size, Russia is largely empty.